Hello students, today we will go through the next point of the Indian Constitution in the previous class, which we have studied. That is a list of fundamental duties. And today we'll discuss the directive principles of state policy. So I'll start explaining these points. So there is a history which is there mentioned. It is not important. We'll directly go to the definition of this directive principle. So the directive principles of state policy are guidelines to the central and state governments of India to be kept in mind while forming laws and policies. So what is this definition tells? These are the just important instructions to the central and state governments of the India, where if anybody those are comes under the political instructions, or they are following the call as a political people, those who always try to make rules and regulations to the public of the citizen of our India, so they have to follow some of the laws and policies. So for that our directive principles are used. These provisions contained in part 4 of the Constitution of India are not enforceable by any court, but the principles laid down therein are considered fundamental in the governance of the country, making it the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws to establish a just society in the country. So make a proper society, to make a healthy atmosphere to be maintained in our society, is everything can be observed by the state by using these directive principles. So next, what are the characteristics of this directive principles of state policies? DSPS is nothing but directive principles of state policies. What it aims to create social and economic conditions under which the citizens can lead a good life. So this is very important. This state policies directive principles are going to create better conditions under which the citizens can be lead a good life. So establish social and economic democracy through a welfare state, which is helping to be live by the people of our Indian. So it should be very healthy. The life of their is always maintained good. Next, they act as a yardstick in the hands of the people to measure the performance of the government. So people can also measure the performance of the government. They can give the suggestion, they can change the government, so they can do anything with the government, so which they don't like or they are liking it. So these principles are going to help in this way. The directive principles are non-justiciable rights of the people. The directive principles, though not justiciable, are fundamental in the governance of the country. So these are the characteristics of directive principles of state policy. Now the directive principles of the state policy, how the points are again included. So as per the articles which are mentioned in the Indian Constitution, so where the article starts and how many articles are included in under the directive principles. So here they are mentioned, these articles one by one. Article 36, definition of state. The state includes the government and parliament of India and the government and the legislature of each of the states and all local or other authorities within the territory of India or under the control of government of India. So here the state includes the government of parliament. Obviously the government and the parliament of the center, which is obviously ruling the states. So state has to be comes under the center, and whatever the states also having state government and legislatures of the states, they all are under working under the principles of this. So this is comes under the article 36. Now article 37, these are the also we can see applications of the principles. So obligations of the state to apply directive principles in making law. So what obligations? There are some rules and regulations to the state to apply these directive principles in making law. So they have to follow this. So next, article 38, state to secure a social order for the promotion of welfare of the people. So article 38 provides obligation to provide livelihood to all citizens. So means equal work, equal pay, health, strength of the workers, everything can be considered under this article. So next, article 39, certain principles of policy to be followed by the state. So that is what I said in the 38 also: equal right to men and women, ownership of resources, equal pay for equal work, protection of children. These points comes under the our directive principles of the state. So it is a duty of the government which is ruling the state, that they have to take care of these principles. So article 39, where everything is important to maintain the rights of the men and women, ownership of the resources, equal salary has to be provided, it has to be given to the different types of equal works, and protection of the children is very important. So next, article 39A. So this is explaining us equal justice and free legal aid to citizens having economic or other disabilities. So what it says, we are seeing in our surrounding atmosphere, surrounding places, so there are a number of economically poor and other that is physically disabilities are having people are there. For them, providing a justice and giving some legal aid is very important. Next, article 40, that is organization of village panchayats. So obviously we are having a number of villages. Our state include a number of villages where the economy of our state is also depends upon the earning made by the village people, that is from the farmers. So it is very important to take care of our villages, so where the maintaining the proper everything, observation and health and the development of every public in the village is very important. To form or to maintain this, we have to go through one establishment of the system that is called as a village panchayat. So that is organization of a village panchayat. This is also one important point which comes under the directive principles of the state policy. So next, article 41, right to work, to education and to public assistance in certain cases. This is each and every one of the state person under the state of those who are living, they are having all the rights to work and to get the education and get a public assistance in certain cases. Next, article 42, this provision for just and human conditions of work and maternity relief. So it is nothing but humanity based systems can be adopted while the people are working under the government. So that means some helpful relief can be given at the time of the working, just like giving the leaves, giving the benefits from the government, and giving some maternity leaves to the workers. So such things can be adopted. So now next, Article 43. This is living wage, good working conditions, etc. for the workers. Living wage means it is an amount, it is a salary, daily wages, salary also we can say. So giving them a sufficient salary, those are workers, daily wage workers are there, and giving or providing a good working atmosphere when they are working under the government. This is very, very important. Next, Article 43, participation of workers in management and industries. Try to promote the workers to management and the different fields. Let them work freely, let them enjoy all the authorities, so which is provided in the Article 43A. So next, this Article 44 tells uniform civil code for the citizens. Uniform civil code means each and every person, those are coming into the state, they all should be treated as equal. So there is no bifurcation in the communities, different communities what we are having. Making one rule for one community and making another rule for another community is not allowed in this article. So everybody has to be considered as equal from all the aspects. It may be rules, regulations, whatever the laws are applied in the constitution, that is uniform. So next, Article 45, provision for free and compulsory education for children. This Article 45, under the directive principles of state policy, it tells each and every children of the state has to compulsorily do the education. So that is, maybe if people, those who are facing a problem of sending their children to the school because of their financial problem, so it is a duty of the government to take care of such students or the children and make them to learn freely through the government, paying the amount of the students by the government. So it is very, very important. So, and very interesting article also. So Article 46, promotion of educational and economic interests of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other weaker sections. We are having a different vernacular castes. Those castes people are, some of the different castes are having a very poor background. They don't have a education, they don't have a financial support, and scheduled tribes are there. Tribes means it is a very poor people, so don't have all the facilities. Such type of people are called red tribes, and other weaker sections which are there, they should be promoted. And they should be promoted means try to bring them up, try to make their lifestyle good. So try to give them education, economic interests also. It is very, very important to help them in this way. So this is the Article 46. Next, Article 47. So duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living and to improve the public health. It is also important. The duty of the state is to make malnutrition people, those who are not getting a better food, they are facing a lot of problem of getting good food. So that's why they are facing a lot of health problems. Try to find out them and make them to get very good nutritious foods through the government supply and bring their health level to the good condition. So this is also a very important aspect in the what we can say in the directive principles of the state policy. Maintaining and observing the health of the public is very, very important. So next, Article 48, organization of agriculture and animal husbandry. So take care of this is also see what agriculture, how the agriculture is it developing or whether it is not developing, whether any animal husbandry, try to help them out, the people those who are not able to do the agriculture, give them other solutions and helps like animal husbandry, try to make them financially strong. So this is through the government. It is very very important to look after such people. So next, Article 48A. So this protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forests and wildlife. So this is also very very important. Government has to take care of this also. What is protection of improvement of environment maintenance is very very important, making it forests and wildlife, safeguarding it is also very very important point of the directive principles of the state policy. Next, Article 49, protection of monuments and places and objects of national importance. We are having a number of monuments, just like I can give you Hampi, Halebeedu, Beluru. There are a number of old temples. These are called as old monuments and places. So protection of these monuments and any object it may be, so national importance, it is a very very biggest important task to maintain it and protect it. Article 50, separation of judiciary from executive. So whatever the three major systems we are having, judiciary, executive and legislative, so these all are separately working. So judiciary is separately working, executive is separately working, and legislative is separately working. So here it is maintained, it is mentioned that separation of judiciary from the executive is very very important. Article 51, that is a promotion of international peace and security, just as honorable relations, maintaining the relations with the international society, international system, encourage settlement of international disputes by arbitration. So it is very very important to see that is, if any problems, international level problems are there with one state or with country to country, so it is very very important to solve such type of problems and maintain a healthy relation. So this is about overall directive principles of state policy.